Well, good evening there, everyone on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Fiona J. Lindsay here of Love My Lifestyle with Fiona J. Now, I'm going to be doing this a bit because I've got a creek throat, for starters. I'm looking at my phone on Instagram. I'm looking at this screen here for Facebook and YouTube. So hope you can hang with me with my looking up and down. I am an online business, personal development and investing student and enthusiast, passionate about empowering professional women to creating an authentic lifestyle that they love. So today I'm coming to you live from our Lego studio, which is it's actually not mine, it's my husband's and our son, here in the homestead on our property in the northeast of Victoria, Australia. And welcome to hashtag Freedom Fridays with Fees. Thanks so much for joining me. So today I wanted to share the concept of, have you ever considered that a live event could actually change your life? So I wanted to actually share a Facebook post that I wrote yesterday, I think it was. And it's been a long time coming. I have returned from South Africa, Cape Town, 4 weeks ago tomorrow. Like, I can't believe it's been 4 weeks. And it's been a bit crazy and chaotic, and I'll get to that in a sec. So I know that some of you watching this might actually have read the post and commented or and reacted, whatever. But I wanted to share it to a bigger audience because there's some really cool concepts in there. So I'm just gonna literally read it. So it's taken me a while to actually get all this down. It took me a while to actually type it all out. So here goes. Since arriving home from South Africa, I have felt different in many, many respects. Hi there, Michael, for joining me live on Instagram. Lovely to see you. Since arriving home from South Africa, I've just felt different in many, many respects. It's definitely changed me and how I see the world, no question. But I've been really deep diving into what exactly it is that's shifted within me. And the trigger for this was falling ill as I left Cape Town on the 19th of May. I actually started feeling unwell on the Wednesday, the 17th, but I had some tours booked and didn't want to miss those. And I wasn't really sick at that point. I just had a little bit of a sore chest and a tiny cough, nothing major, but with a history of asthma, I knew that something wasn't 100% right. It wasn't until I was in that magnificent Q suite, business class on Qatar Airways, flying back to Doha, that I realized I actually had a fever. I was shivering under that beautiful blanket, and I didn't want to ask for another blanket, fearing that the flight attendants would be on to me and would ground me in Doha and not allow me to board my next flight. So not exactly the place that I really wanted to be in any form of quarantine. So I just soldiered on. The final flight from Doha back to Melbourne was brutal. I was incredibly unwell, doing my very best to hide it, again, from both the flight attendants and the couple that were sitting next to me. It really wasn't until I landed in Melbourne that I realised I was in some serious trouble. Oh, it was, Michael. It was unbelievably awesome. Within 2 hours of landing, I was wheezing, I was coughing quite violently. I went to bed on the Sunday as my flight landed at 11 o'clock on the Saturday night, and hubby had booked an airport hotel and I didn't get much sleep. So it wasn't until I arrived home the next day that I went to bed thinking, by morning, everything will be fine, I'll get back to normal. I wasn't okay. I asked hubby to take me to hospital because I just couldn't stop wheezing and coughing. And thankfully, after some blood tests and a chest x-ray, thankfully it wasn't pneumonia. It was a little scary though. My blood pressure was dangerously low. The nurse was actually considering having me airlifted to Melbourne because I actually live 2 hours from Melbourne. So it turned out it was a viral lung infection. And as you can tell, I'm Still struggling a little bit with this cough. Incredibly, the event that I attended in Cape Town, around a third of fellow conference attendees have had some sort of illness and had a lot of very similar symptoms. So all I could do for basically 2 weeks after I arrived home was hunker down, watch movies and rest and drink plenty of water, and I slept. The sleep part was a little bit challenging, obviously, owing to the coughing. After a week, my youngest son, Christian, got it as well. He was off school for 4 days, and then hubby got it last week, and he was off to the doctors today. For him, though, not too bad, thankfully. So it's really only now that I can sort of safely say, yeah, it wasn't a good place, Michael, for sure. That my lungs actually feel okay. I've still got this sort of niggling little cough, but I've been able to return to work this week and get back to exercise and my passion of tennis. So it's been a real slog, I'll be honest. And I was wondering why on earth I was so ill, and given how utterly ecstatic I was while I was in South Africa, I got really curious as to what was causing all of this. And it hit me. And a huge thanks to Doreen for supporting me around this. I was processing a lot while I was in South Africa, and you know what? There was a lot to confront. Despairing poverty, the incredibly gorgeous scenery, the immense friendliness of the locals, the clear and unnerving racism that clearly still exists. And all of this was on top of the conference content that I was there to, which is what took me to Cape Town. And not to mention the fact that it was my first time leaving Australia alone, and I was missing the family terribly. So recently I read about this thing called the hero's journey. And you may have heard of this in Hollywood. It's basically a tried and tested formula for writing a screenplay for a movie. You know, the hero goes on the adventure, is victorious in the decisive crisis, and then comes home transformed. And I also learned something called neuroplasticity. It's basically the brain rewiring itself, and it's usually caused by, a specific event or a trauma, which both made a lot of sense to me, right? And I liken it to a lobster, as crazy as that sounds. In a process called molting, lobsters actually shed their outer shell when they outgrow it. And they disappear down to the bottom of the ocean to protect that inner delicate flesh, where they grow a new shell. And this has been me, absolutely. I felt as though through this whole transformational experience, I've shed my outer shell. I needed to go really deep within me to grow my new shell. And that process of getting ill was me shedding, I suppose, the old molecules and growing into the new ones. So maybe Google the hero's journey, neuroplasticity, and about lobsters. It's actually really interesting stuff. And I know this sounds a little bit woo-woo, airy-fairy, but this is me, personal development junkie here talking. But I truly believe that what I've gone through, and for so many others in my company who have experienced similar symptoms, I have absolutely no doubts now. Has it been uncomfortable the last few weeks? You bet it has. But has it been worth it? No question. And I'm sure you can tell that I'm just unbelievably excited at the moment because I know that my vibration has raised significantly since I've come home. And I know what I'm attracting, who I'm attracting, and I've already started that process, which is just super thrilling for me. Just the conversations that I've been having with people that I don't even know over the last few days has been just amazing. Next level stuff in many areas of my life. And now I feel as though I really am up-leveling. So would I suggest taking a trip to Cape Town in order to experience a transformation? Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, it's an amazing place that I can't wait to take my kids back to. It took me way out of my comfort zone. You hear the stories, right? We've all heard the stories about South Africa and being unsafe and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, it was out of my comfort zone. I'm quite comfortable traveling to places like Europe, where I kind of know what I'm expecting. But yeah, we're certainly planning on a holiday back there next year. But what I've noticed is I'm making different decisions. I watched, while I was unwell, I watched a movie on Amazon Prime called Fall. And ordinarily, I'm terrified of heights. I would never, ever have watched a movie like this. Google it again. It's called Fall, Fall. But I watched it. I confronted my fear of heights. And my gosh, it was liberating. I just felt so amazing afterwards. Not that I would climb a 600-meter tall TV tower. No, not going to do that. But for me, just doing that, it's feedback to me that I'm a different person. And that is just so exciting to me. I don't want the results that I've had over the last 2 years. So why am I sharing this? I think it's so important to be brave and courageous enough to take your own hero's journey. And who knows what you'll learn, who you'll meet, how your life will be different. But what I do know is how it makes you feel. And feeling good, what could possibly be more important than that, right? So that's it for today. I so appreciate you joining me live. And if you loved this and got something from it, I'd really appreciate hearing from you. Pop a comment below. And if you've got a question, comment below and I will absolutely, or reach out to me directly on Messenger. I personally reply to all messages and I love hearing from you anyway. Please give me a thumbs up if you're watching this on YouTube. And remember to click that subscribe button and hit that bell to be notified when I go live. Please do on Facebook, click love, wow, emoji. And if you got some value, please share this, tag some people, and of course, follow me to be notified when I go live. Follow me on Instagram at Love My Lifestyle with Fiona J, or on YouTube and Facebook. I'm incredibly passionate about supporting as many as possible to a life of wellness and self-empowerment. I'm going to be popping in the comments a link that you can download called the 7 Simple Steps to Creating Your One-of-a-Kind Life. And this is what started me on this journey. So I hope it'll start your journey there as well. So thanks again so much for joining me. I will see you again on Wednesday for #WhatILoveWednesdays. Have a winning week, passionate personal development divas. Take care. Bye for now.